Wow. We've come a long way, haven't we? We started off with the hero's journey, leaving and getting into our heart, and hopefully getting vulnerable somewhere, getting really honest, and quit covering up my wounds, your wounds. Start telling the truth about what sucks about being a man today, especially under this shadow of patriarchy where real men aren't supposed to show their wounds. That's bullshit. And then we moved into the warrior, knowing that I could be a brutal or a weakling if I didn't get trained, if I didn't get help, if I didn't have a balanced warrior, nor did I bring my wounds forward appropriately at the right time to get help. How many men have suffered because they didn't get help? How many men didn't find their power? And then to team all that up with the magician, to look at how that manipulating, dark, slimy stuff that we hide out. I'm not the only one. You're not the only one. When we start getting together and telling on ourselves, we can access that power. And we don't have to pretend to be innocent, I don't know, and be a slimy little bastard. But what we can do is embrace that and see what's possible if I bring that manipulating, vulnerable, honest, getting social contracts before I go in and start doing some magic in the community based on the rituals I do at home, alone, by myself, hopefully with the help of your own Merlin or studying Merlin. So as we build on these three archetypes, we find that we're not even building. We're actually been in a place of service to a sovereign, someone who has the highest need of the littlest one and has the highest need of the oldest one. So he's somewhere in the middle of his life, but he doesn't forget what was like to be little and birthed. He doesn't forget what it's like to be in service to the generation that's passing, that's on their deathbed, that has a lot of wisdom, and they're moving on. He holds that together in a beautiful visionary piece with the help of a healthy magician, a healthy warrior, and a healthy lover. So leaving this for last is always good because it's a return. It's a coming home to who we as men are designed to be, and that is firing on all these archetypes in a way that's seamless, authentic, and beautiful. Some of the greatest kings and queens and chiefs and caciques and the sovereigns and the prime ministers and the presidents and the commanders in chief that went before us were wonderful servants, but not all. Some of them did succumb to the tyrant or abdicated and let corporate interests take over, let the military-industrial complex take over, or maybe in some cases, let his lower nature, that he was married and had a queen and he was running around with the maidens. It's not always necessarily bad, but if you're going to be king, get that shit out of your system. Go play, go sow your seed so you can get it out of your system and grow into the man you were meant to be. So it's a little more bad news about the sovereign archetype, because with technology, unfortunately, we project onto people who carry the archetype of the king. They might not be real kings. They might be tyrants or abdicating weaklings, but people want to project onto them because they don't want to take responsibility for their own inner sovereign. So when it comes to politicians and sports personality and TV personalities, people project onto those archetypes that these people are good, or I'll follow them because I don't have to do my inner work around my archetypes. In essence, giving away my power. Well, why did I give away my power? Because it was painful. This is not fun, but it's worth every ounce of excruciating, exquisite, high-quality pain if I get the help I need. So if we get past this projection onto people that are parading as sovereigns, pretending like they're sovereigns, but they're a bunch of nasty narcissists in people. Again, not all, but you got to look at the politicians. You got to ask your question, what kind of person gets into that work and how do we get to project onto them? That's what gives them their power. So, the tyrant, the bully, the feared, not loved narcissist is what dominates in many cases. It's that strong man first, and then being loved second, which is we've got it backwards. If the king is not a loving, sound, sane person in me or in you, then we have a problem if we just want people to fear us. Again, it comes back to the same lineage of hurt. Hurt people hurt people. So the tyrant serves himself, his own goals. He lies to the people. He has no awareness of his limits, or he hides them or pretends like he doesn't have them. He's good at everything. He devalues those that are different from himself. He tries to squelch dissent rather than incorporate that into a process of understanding for the highest good of everybody. He focuses on his military, on his money, on his corporations, and his power. Absolute power breeds absolute power. Corruption, many blind spots, a lot of insecurity, always needs the limelight. Dictatorial, the boss. He's unilateral and bipolar at the same time, always needs to look good, violent, perhaps aggressive, especially to dissent or any disagreement or fears or weaknesses that are shared with people that are there to hopefully support him and work with him. Here's a key piece. The king fears new life. He fears the prince. He fears the next generation because he thinks he's going to live forever, and that's not true. Like Macbeth, he seeks power solely for the source of power. And to quote, ambition and greed, let not light see my black and deep desires. So the black and deep desires that Macbeth withheld are what propelled him rather than him transforming them. So here's the good news, that if I look at my tyrant and I own it, and if I look at that abdication, like the weakling, like the impotent lover, that I can embrace the gold. He's a steward. He knows he will not be king forever, but it's just for a lifetime. He knows the golden side of the sovereigns that are also on the planet, his contemporaries, and he shares power. His currency is not power, it's praise and appreciation. He is loved and not feared. The absolute opposite of a tyrant. He serves some source of a higher power, the cosmic narrative, the transcendent mystery, or whatever you have, whatever book that your ancestors passed on to you that you hold as sacred, whatever beliefs that they taught you. He admits his mistakes and his errors, that he's secure enough in himself to screw up. He's got a bunch of people there who have advised him and can help him. He's got a group council, especially of elders, wise women and wise men. He minimizes punishment, maximizes praise, and exercises pardon, forgiveness. He distances himself from his own ego. He knows that's not where the power is. He's open to feedback, the highest good, the greater good for the people he serves. And in many aspects, he has like an eagle view. He's able to rise above all the chaos and bullshit of people and politics and human affairs and gets to serve. He's got some kind of a mix between the metaphysical observer and the one that takes action. He serves a vision greater than himself, longer than his own life. Just like King Leonidas of the 300, he knew that he was going to leave a legacy for his people, that his fertility The blood he would spill was for a reality that he would not personally enjoy. He was willing to do that because his vision was much bigger than just the time of his life. That king is fertile, he's abundant, he's fruitful, and he always honors and rewards the people that don't look like him, love like him, or live like him. He serves all that's in his kingdom. Again, the two most important things, he's not run by his ego. He lives with ego and not from ego. And he's loved and not feared. Your homework for the sovereign is a little deeper than the previous homework assignments because it's important to look at the dark side of the tyrant and of the abdicating king, the one that rejects the responsibility, and go back and find where you were a dark magician or pretending to be an innocent. Where were you brutal? Where were you a weakling? Go back and find out where were you addicted, or maybe where you're still addicted, and go back to where you were just impotent. And maybe you had a moment sometime, somewhere, that you couldn't perform sexually. You couldn't get it up. That is where the gift is. Because if you can own that and you can face that and be honest about that, then you come together as a 4 archetypal dynamic man. So as you lean into that golden king and you write about where did I bless? Where did I put somebody before me? That doesn't mean you always put people before you, but it means that you take good care of yourself by getting the help you need, like the lover that's vulnerable. You get trained like the warrior that knows he needs to be trained. You get a Merlin like the good magician did. And then, you talk to other kings. You talk to other men that are on their path to be the kind of men they want to be. And you're honest, fucking honest. Tell men where you fucked up. And if you do that, then that golden sovereign will begin to emerge inside of you. So writing this down, and if you need to check in, if you need to call somebody, do that. Because that's the strongest thing that we can do as men, as we grow into our archetypal power, is to maybe reach out to somebody while I'm doing my homework. And in a few minutes, what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll review this and we'll talk about the conclusion. What does all this mean? Why do it? What's the cost? And what's the benefit? Good luck.